So you want to be a dungeon master?
That's great. We're here to help. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Justin. This week, we're talking Druids. They only got Fuck me. This week, we're talking Druids. They only got 2 subclasses in the 2014 PHB and 5 subclasses in the supplemental stuff. Finally, we have some different ways to use our wild shape, to relate to the power of nature, and gain some really powerful abilities. Move over, Moon Druid. There's some new kids on the block. We got 5 subclasses to cover, so let's get into it. But first... There's going to be a but first. So, we know that Druids can turn into animals, they can summon animals, and they can talk to animals, assuming they choose those spells and stuff. As DMs, what are some tips and tricks in regards to these abilities, stats, mechanics, roleplay that we can give to players, and DMs alike, potentially?
I think as far as the last point, the talking to animals, always have some funny voices on standby. You can never go wrong with a little like canary that talks like this. Yeah, what do you want?
Exactly. Yes. Subvert expectations. Have fun with the accents and stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
nothing funnier, than a little tiny guy, like a little tiny creature that has a deep, gravelly voice. It's so fun. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's all kind of little fluffy things in the game. I think just let your imagination run wild with it. Even if there's not like a stat block for it, if a player wants it bad enough, you can always reflavor another stat block to be
that's a good
something
tip.
else.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. If like there's no stat block for like a shoe bill,
right?
Or like a pelican, right? There's no specific stat block for pigeon, but you can find comparable ones. Right? Like in our in Mythos University, our actual play, which is available on Twitch and YouTube and the podcast as well. One of our players, Daniel, playing Kairos, summons a familiar using the favorite animals of all the other players. And it's this weird chimera creature that has like a tentacle for one arm and a panda tail and like all this weird shit. And he used owl stats. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Who cares? That's fine.
You want a flying familiar. There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's actually such a good stat. Yeah, for sure. You can use the badger stat and still be a honey badger. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. And then also, like, in terms of what animals you can turn into, it's going to differ table by table. If you're playing a druid, talk to your DM. DMs, if you have druids at the table, talk to them. What I like to do is kind of give them a sort of parameter of like, you grew up in the desert and therefore here are the animals that you can turn into because you're familiar with them. You've seen them before. If you grew up in a sandy desert, maybe you've never seen like a leopard or something like that, right? So, and then the nice thing is it's such a fun little gift to give to the druid throughout the campaign.
Yeah,
now you see a black bear. Now you get to see a giraffe. Now you get to see this, and then their list just expands over time. Same thing with like a moon druid and elementals. Like maybe they've never seen an air elemental but maybe by level 10 they have seen an air elemental, and now they can turn into one.
Yeah, I think I think it's almost more fun to have a druid from an area with very few animals to start with for the reason that you were saying, is that it is a fun kind of way for like to get players excited for like, oh shit, I just saw a rhinoceros, now I can freaking turn into one.
Yeah. I love that. It's such a cheap and easy, like I'm almost putting air quotes around this, you can't see this, but like upgrade.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's the easiest thing to give out because it's not that big of a deal, but it also like it is a big deal to the druid. It's an extra animal shape I can turn into. I love that shit. And then when it comes to like stat blocks, I know you have a really fun way as a DM that you use stat blocks with monsters and stuff where you kind of like screenshot and put it in a file, right? I think that's a good idea for beasts.
Yeah, I have a bunch of I've scanned in the pages of the monster manual and kind of cut them out, cut the ones that are for like wild shape and stuff. Like these are like CR0 beast or 1/2 beasts. These are CR1, CR2, and have them all on different pages. That way it's easy to give out. Or the more common thing is I'll keep it on file for my reference. I will generally make my players look up the stat block themselves. So
I also do most of the time. Like,
so I have it for my reference, so I know what I'm getting myself into stat wise with this shape.
Yeah, you're like, you could become a rhinoceros. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
They can do what?
But I'm looking at it. I see the stat block, and I'm like, okay, you go ahead and do your stat block or whatever. I don't do it because I don't trust the players, but I always like to have references. Like I also have my characters are all together in a campaign on D&D Beyond just because I like to have their character sheets at my fingertips.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It is a level of bookkeeping that I think can be shared between the DM and the player in terms of the beast stat blocks and stuff like that. Now, if you're playing with newer players who finding that stat block is going to be a challenge, I mean,
I'll give them a link.
It's one of those things that it's like the one thing that I always praise D&D Beyond about is their filtering system is actually quite good. Because you can go to the lower right-hand corner of the filter system, change it to basic rules so that it's all free and you don't have to click on something and it be like, do you not have this random-ass module? Then you don't know what a honey badger does. And it's like, fuck off. But so you can stick to basic rules and stuff like that. That's really, really fun. I've even in the past, like when we had a druid in our home campaign, even when they did conjure animals, because it was a little different than wild shape for like conjure animals.
Right.
It was like, listen, you can choose which animals to conjure. If you want to conjure 8 bats or 2 dire wolves because you've seen those and you're familiar, that's fine. But you could also leave it up to chance. And so I'll write down like 6 animals that you've never seen before and you roll a d6 and that's what you summon.
That's nice. Yeah, that's a really cool thing to do for the purposes of giving the druid more wild shapes.
Yeah, and it's fun and it's interesting and it's
pick
like
the CR and all that stuff, so they'll be able to actually decide, like, you know, okay, I don't have a CR1 wild shape to turn into. Let's go ahead and summon something that's CR1 and see what we get.
Yeah, absolutely. And like technically that's not how that spell is written. But it was how we decided to do it at the table, and it was a lot of fun. So explore those kind of things and have some fun with it and stuff like that. And then when it comes to conjuring animals and having a bunch of summoned animals, which are almost always going to be the weakest thing on the field for the most part, maybe not in super low levels, but eventually conjuring animals becomes slightly less effective.
Right.
That being said, how you as the DM respond to that, like through your monster's actions and behaviors, it's going to depend on the monster, the bad guy that you're using. Are they super smart? Are they a spellcaster? If they're a spellcaster, they probably saw the person cast the spell, and so they know these are summoned magical animals.
Right.
So that's important, and it's also important to know that conjure animals, even though it says in the spell text that they appear as like fae or something like that, their attacks are not magical. That's a hill I will die on. That technically conjure animals, even though you're doing it, and it's because of
you're summoning regular animals.
Yeah, exactly. Even if they like technically count as fae or whatever the spell text says, there are other spells in the game that make that very important distinction, that these attacks count as magical and stuff like that. So that's why I make that distinction. But for me, it's always been like, how smart is the monster that they're fighting? And like, what are the animals doing? If the animals are just making little tiny attacks that are doing a little bite of damage here and there, then it's like, they probably won't bother with them. They're probably going to hit the person who conjured them in the hopes that they break concentration. But
but on the other side of things, if it's just a dumb animal, they're not going to know any better.
Exactly.
Like if it's some kind of a beast or something with low intelligence, they're not going to know the difference. So they probably would go after the summons if the summons are the things up in their face harrying them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it truly depends. Not to mention some beasts have interesting abilities, like they could have grapples or different things like that are just so much of a nuisance that even a smart person would be like, fuck these frogs with their big ass tongues grappling me. Ay, Dios mío. But I think druids are a lot of fun. They're one of the classes that for brand spanking new players can feel daunting.
Absolutely.
Because you have to keep track of wild shape and then also spells and stuff like that. And so it can get a little challenging. But boy, howdy. I think that they are so
intermediate
much fun.
Advanced player absolutely can be devastating with the druid. 100%. Especially with some of these subclasses that we're going to talk about today.
Oh yeah, these subclasses are pretty good. Most of them at least. So let's get into them. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey gang, did you know we have a Patreon now? Well, we do. In the episode description, you'll find the link. We have 3 different tiers available with all kinds of extra access or content. For example, you could have listened to this episode already. Or you could get access to bonus action, our extra episodes where we talk about stuff like favorite spells, monsters, we go over multi-class builds, homebrew material, and more. And that's not all, because there's going to be more and more stuff coming out as So You Want to Be a Dungeon Master continues to grow. So go check it out and then come back and finish this episode.
The first one we're going to talk about today is the Circle of Dreams Druid. Ooh. This is kind of like the Druids have kind of a connection to the Feywild in general, like as a whole. But these are more in tune with the Feywild. They are like kind of products of it, sort of. So they have some abilities that are more Fey related, starting with the Balm of the Summer Court. So at level 2, you get the ability to heal your friends. So at 2nd level, you gain D6s up to your druid level. And what you can use these D6s for is to you can choose an ally within 120 feet of you, and you can spend as many as you want, equal to half your druid level or less. So you know, if you're level 5, you can give them up to 2.
Yeah.
And then so you're gonna roll the dice, add them together. They get they regain hit points up to that. Like they gain hit points from the dice, and then they also get 1 temporary hit point per die spent. So like if we're talking level 10, they're going to get 5d6 plus 5 at max.
It's pretty solid. And as a bonus action.
It's a bonus action. Yeah, I forgot about the economy half of that. But yeah, so it's a bonus action to do that. But that's amazing. That's a great skill.
120
especially at 2nd
feet.
level. 120 feet. Yeah, that's a freaking healing word. Like you could take place of the off healer or even the party healer with this, just from being able to just automatically be able to pick people back up.
I would argue it's, other than like obviously the range is twice what healing word is, but it's also not a spell.
Right.
Action, so call lightning, do a million things, and then still use this ability to pick a friend up really or something like that, and it levels up well. It's such a good ability. Yeah.
So this is a potential non-cleric healer class, I would say. Just because, you don't have to be a cleric to be the party heal.
Yeah, and giving
cleric has life, like the life domain, but other than that, I mean, yeah.
I think we've done a good job of showing how versatile clerics are.
Yeah.
Both of us being big fans. But I also think that it's like adding in a bonus action ability is just nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we all know what it's like when you're playing that certain kind of class and all the other players are like, and then for my bonus action, I'm going to give inspiration. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then you're like, well, I don't have any bonus actions. Do I? No. Nah, that's the end of my turn. And it's like, right, damn it. I wish I had a fucking bonus action thing. It does suck. When you don't have a bonus action thing, it sucks.
Yeah.
So this is beautiful.
This is nice.
A great ability.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to the next ability that you get at 6th level, you get the Hearth of Moonlight and Shadow. During a short or long rest, you can invoke a kind of orb of shadowy protection. Basically, at the start of the rest, you touch a point in space and an invisible 30-foot radius sphere of magic appears. And then that basically covers the whole area in total cover. So you're basically putting like an invisibility bubble up around everybody. While you're in the sphere, your allies, yourself and your allies get a +5 to stealth checks and wisdom or perception checks. And then any light from a campfire or something like that does not extend past that 30-foot radius sphere. It can't be seen from outside of it. Insane. And then the sphere just kind of goes away at the end of the rest, or whenever you leave the sphere itself. So,
or when you leave the sphere. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, this is perfect for, hey, we need to take a break, or like, you know, we need a safe place to camp. You're like during exploration time and stuff like that. We need safe camping space and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Really great for that type of thing.
Really, really good. Really, really good. Now it's like it for DMs, it's important to know that like technically bad guys can just walk through this.
Walk into it, yeah.
But presumably, unless everyone is straight up sleeping, people will get perception checks and stealth checks and all this kind of stuff. So they should know
probably
if
a
something's
campfire
about
going.
to walk in.
Yeah. Right.
But still, yeah, so good. It's like a modified Liamon's tiny hut, but it's not that tiny.
No. It's not tiny at all.
30-foot
radius.
That's
a large area. Yeah.
Large area.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's that. And then moving on to 10th level, you get hidden paths. So you can use the hidden magical pathways that some Fae use to traverse space in a blink of an eye. So it's a bonus action. You can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Or you can use your action to teleport one willing creature up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. And then you can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of 1 time. But if you're a druid, you're doing it right, your wisdom should probably be your highest stat. So maximum of 5 times. Well, or depending on the DM or how far along you are, it could be more than that. 6 or 7 is getting a bit wild. But still, you get all of them back on a long rest. 5 is a lot of uses of teleport and stuff, especially with the fact that you can teleport your friends. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey,
wild.
Tank, get up there. Boop. Shoop.
Insane. It's really, I love the versatility of this. I love that it gives you those options.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's balanced so well.
Mm-hmm.
Bonus action.
It's another bonus action thing, yeah.
Yeah, bonus action, I get to teleport. Action, I get to teleport a friend. I love that. I think that's like beautifully. And it's these abilities are so good because they're replicating spells in certain ways, right?
Right.
Like this bonus action healing is kind of like Healing Word, but a little bit different. The 6th level one, kind of like Liamon's Tiny Hut, but a little bit different. But none of them are spells. They cannot be counterspelled. They can't be like dispelled or any bullshit like that. Fucking awesome. Big fan.
It's really nice.
Big fan.
It's nice. Yeah. And then at 14th level, you get the Walker in Dreams feat. This one allows you to travel mentally or physically through the dreamlands. When you finish a short rest, you can cast one of these spells without expending a spell slot or needing material components. Holy crap. You get Dream, where you are the messenger. You can go appear in somebody's dream. Scrying, another crazy thing, or Teleportation Circle. Now, Teleportation Circle does come with a couple of caveats. It does not open a portal to an existing teleportation circle. It opens a portal to the last location you finished a long rest on your current plane of existence. So, if you're on the Feywild, and like the last time that you took a rest was on the material plane and you try to use the teleportation circle feat, it's not going to work. You can't plane shift with it.
Correct.
So you can, on the other side of things, if you're like getting ready to infiltrate the big bad's castle and you rest outside the castle And then you go through, you beat everything, and you're like, okay, let's take a short rest. And then, boop, you can teleport right back to your campsite outside of the castle type of situation.
Yeah. I like that a lot. You're going back to your checkpoint, your save point.
Right, exactly.
It's so good. Not to mention, hey, there's going to be times where the teleportation circle isn't like the move. Fucking Dream is like there's so many uses for Dream because you can do it against enemies, and that's really funny and interesting too. But you could even just do it to allies, and it's like an in-person sending spell, but without the word limitation. So it's like you can send messages and talk to each other. The way our friend Allie uses it in our home campaign is brilliant. And it's so fun for me as the DM because I get to decide, like, the way we have shaped it is the dream spell lets you as the caster, like, change the dream. But we have role played it in our home game as, like, you still have to get to the dream. So, like, when she says, I'm casting dream on my dad, I always have it, because it's very funny to me, that she's walking in on her dad already mid-dream. So she gets to see that he's dreaming about, like, getting a lap dance from three twins. What the fuck? 3 sets of twins.
3 sets of twins. A lot.
Yeah, switch it up. Anyway, but yeah. And then scrying, I don't think we have to talk about how good that spell is.
Yeah.
We don't have to cover that, really. It's just fucking awesome. And
when it
no
works.
Spell slot, no material components. Holy shit. Imagine getting a scry after every short rest.
That's crazy.
Now, it is once per long rest.
Right.
So you can't just short rest. But still.
So, okay, it's once you use this feature. So you wouldn't be able to do a short rest dream, then a short rest scrying, and then a short rest teleportation circle. It would have to be, you pick one, and then you have to take a long rest to finish it out.
Still though,
very, very cool, very fun. Like I said, this is this is a really good non-cleric support character.
Yeah, it is.
Having a whole bunch of good stuff for out of combat. The freaking Hearth of Moonlight and Shadow is, like, really and honestly a sleeper because it doesn't seem like you get a whole lot of use out of it, but it's short or long rest. You can do this. Yeah. And basically make you and your friends invisible to the outside world for the most part.
Yeah, that's going to be so helpful. There's so many, like, specific settings and campaigns where that's going to be, like, so crazy. Yeah. And if you're worried about that, if you're like, oh, I was going to do a survival campaign and this is going to make it too easy and da-da-da. Hey, creatures can walk into it.
Absolutely.
And there are going to be...
It's not a solid barrier or anything like that. It's not full protection. It's just protection from perception. It's just full cover.
Exactly. And there's going to be high-level monsters who have, like, detect magic. They might be able to detect, like, magic items through the shield and stuff like that. But, like, even, like, you're going to have, like, powerful creatures, like monsters and stuff, who are genuinely going to walk into it on accident.
Yep.
And that's funny.
Yep. I do think I would allow visibility of the sphere with detect magic, because it does literally say a 30-foot radius sphere of magic appears.
True.
Even though it's invisible,
you're right.
I think a detect magic would be able to be like, hey, there's a big sphere of glowy magic here. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, even still though, it's really good.
Solid one.
I like the subclass a lot.
It's really cool. Lots of great flavor. I'm into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next up, we have the Circle of the Shepherd.
Oh, man.
Circle of the Shepherd. You're going to be doing a lot of really cool stuff. And if you want to play Druid and you want to double down on conjuring animals, conjuring things, this is your baby. This is your man. Okay? This and the Conjuration Wizard are your two strongest summoning builds, in my opinion. So, second level, we get Speech of the Woods. So, instantly you learn the Sylvan language. You can read, write, and speak it. Beasts can understand your speech, and you gain the ability to decipher their noises and motions. That's really fun. So, it's just like a slightly... Because, like, speak with animals, you're having full conversations, right? I mean, granted, the animal is still dumb, so you can't like actually have complex, conversation. But this is just like you don't have to cast a spell, and you can do little tiny things. Hey, did you see a troll walk this way? And the little guy goes, and you go, okay, troll did go this way, gang.
Yeah, I'm imagining Kronk and the squirrel from Emperor's New Groove.
Perfect example. That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they do make it special note that it does not grant you any special friendship with this animal.
Right.
So you still would have to make like animal handling checks, but maybe you get advantage because you're talking to it, all kinds of cool stuff. But that's a fun little ability. Then you get the big one, Spirit Totem. I love this ability so much because it doesn't use your wild shape. So you don't have to worry about that. It's not like some of these other ones where here's another way to use your wild shape. This doesn't even use your wild shape. And it's a bonus action. And it's great support. So you use a bonus action. You summon a 30-foot radius spirit aura. As a bonus action going forward, you get to move that spirit up to 60 feet to a point you can see. So it is stationary, but it has the ability to move.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit lasts for 1 minute, which is going to be 95% of combats. Doesn't require concentration, so don't have to worry about that.
Hell yeah.
And you can use this feature once per short or long rest. Now, when you summon this spirit totem, you get 3 different spirits to choose from. Each one has different abilities and benefits and stuff like that. Now, they have very specific animals linked into these. Obviously, have fun with it. I can tell you right now, for this first one, the bear spirit, I had this as a horseshoe crab in a game. Because I based all of my spirits on animals that you can find in New Jersey. Because I'm from New Jersey and I have a lot of love for this stupid state. I love it so much, this shithole. I'm rewatching Unsleeping City, and they just got to the Jersey Devil fight, and hearing Lou Wilson as Kingston Brown go, let's go get this Jersey trash. I was like, you motherfucker. But anyway, before I get off topic. So, bear spirit. Each creature gains temporary hit points equal to 5 plus your druid level. Already dope as hell. Because at level 2, that's 7 hit points, which is like 1 attack at that level. That's really good. Then at higher levels, I mean, just like if you go to level 10, that's 15, right? 10 plus 5. Yeah, 15 extra hit points. Yeah. It's just nice. It's just nice having a little extra boost to your hit points and stuff like that. Why not, And you're going to be able to hit everybody. Here's how you break this, though, in a good way. For you, the player, not for the DM. This is going to suck for DMs. I'm so sorry. Make sure you summon all your bullshit first.
Yeah.
And that includes your friends. Get your friends to summon their things. Animate dead. Conjure animals. Conjure shadow spawn. Get your familiars in here. Everything. Because, and this is important, not once does it say, like you and 5 allies. It doesn't. Right. It never gives a number.
It says each creature.
Yes, that's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane. So helpful.
Wild.
Now, not only do you get that little temporary hit point bonus with the bear spirit, but you also get advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws while in the aura.
Amazing.
Incredible. So the temporary hit points is just a boost right when you summon it. You have to be within that 30-foot radius, which isn't hard in the beginning of combat. And then after that, you have to stay in the aura if you want that, like, essentially a rage ability with the advantage on strength checks and strength saves.
Going
the wombo
into that
combos.
The wombo combos of, like, even just with your summons of giving that extra thing, you get something like an octopus or something that does, like, grapple shit.
Yeah.
They've got advantage on all of it.
Yeah, dude, summon snakes. Because certain snakes have abilities. I used to fucking hate this as a DM, but it was such a good move that you can't knock it. But there are certain snakes where they do that thing in 5e where it'll be like, you're grappled. And while you're grappled in this way, you are restrained. So now not only is your movement 0, so it's just so good. It's such a good ability. That's just the bear one. Then we get the hawk spirit. The hawk spirit, when a creature makes an attack roll against a target in the spirit's aura, you, the druid, can use your reaction to give advantage to that attack roll.
Nice.
So you can use your reaction to just give advantage to your friends as long as they're attacking inside of the the target has to be in the spirit's aura.
Yeah. In comparison to the bear spirit, this one seems a little lackluster just because it's harder to break it just for the fact of you use your reaction. So once that's done, it's done.
Yeah. No doubt. The bear and the unicorn, which we'll go over, are for sure the better ones.
Right.
But you never know. There might be like a weird scenario where that does make sense.
True.
So you're getting that reaction to give advantage. Again, the usefulness will also depend on if you do flanking. The whole reason I have any beef with flanking is because of abilities like this.
Right.
Because it's like
kind of makes it
flanking makes giving advantage so easy, I think. And so it kind of takes away from some abilities that give advantage. But each table is different, whatever you want your house rules to be, and as long as everyone's having fun, let her rip. So
absolutely,
you get that reaction, and you gain advantage on perception checks. So you could use this out of combat. You could use this out of combat while you're traveling, because out of combat, a bonus action is literally nothing. So you can just keep it with you for the full minute and just make 10 different perception checks with advantage. And everybody in the group gets to get that advantage. So it's just like you're never getting snuck up on.
Right.
So could be helpful. Then, yeah, that's why I said, like 10 checks. So you're not getting it for a ton.
For a minute. For 1 minute, you're unable to be snuck up on.
And then unicorn spirit.
Yeah.
So fun that they went bear, hawk, unicorn.
Unicorn. Yeah.
So unicorn spirit, you get advantage on all ability checks made to detect creatures. Wild, because that's better than the hawk spirit does.
Right.
It's just better. And it leaves it open to any ability check. So that includes survival, that includes investigation. It's insane. And if you, the druid, cast a spell that restores hit points, each creature of your choice also regains hit points equal to your druid level.
Wow. And this is what, a 10-foot radius?
30 foot.
30-foot. Wow.
Yeah. Because it is each creature of your choice in the aura. I didn't write that on the outline.
Crazy.
Yeah, insane. Levels up with you really well. Once you hit 10th, I keep using 10 as like the example for these like as you level up things, but simple bonus action healing word, and then everybody gets 10 hit points. Insane. So fucking good. So depends on the fight. What do you think's more important? To get the bear spirit or the unicorn spirit, and it's going to change each time. Switch it up. Try one fight, try one the next fight, and see which works.
Yeah.
The only downside to the spirit totem is that the bear spirit is so good. And really the only reason I say that's a downside is just because it's kind of like, when the fuck am I going to use the other ones? When the bear spirit is just prominently so good. But you never know. So that's at 2nd level. 6th level, we get Mighty Summoner. Any beast or fae summoned by a spell that you've cast gains 2 benefits. First, the creature has 2 extra hit points per hit die that it has.
Cool.
So that could be really helpful depending on what you're summoning and stuff like that. Depends on how many hit die they have and literally what you're summoning.
How would you calculate a hit die total for a stat block that doesn't necessarily have hit dice on it?
Great question. In that example, are you using like a homebrew thing? Because if you're using like module stuff, then they should have hit dice. But
yeah. So this would be like a homebrew kind of situation, or like you've come up with a monster that you have all these stats for, and don't necessarily go, okay, I'm going to roll out 10d6 to figure out how much health it has. It just has 60 health, right? So like, I know as players you gain a hit die per level. Yeah. Right. So would you maybe do by CR at that point? So
yeah, I guess I would look at other CRs in that same range, like other comparable creatures in that same range, and find an average or find something that feels good.
Okay.
Because presumably, like most of the time, you're going to be using beasts and summons that have very specific hit dice.
Right.
Like, for example, I just pulled up a dire wolf. Now, under hit points, it says 37, but then in parentheses it says 5d10 plus 10. So
Okay.
that just tells me right off the bat it's got 5 hit dice.
Right.
So 5 extra hit points. Or excuse me, it's 2 per. So 10 extra hit points.
10
so
extra
every
hit points.
direwolf I summon has 47 instead of 37.
That's pretty dope.
Pretty dope. And the next one, and this is why I was such a stinker on the fucking conjure animals.
Yeah.
Its natural weapons are magical.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what makes it so that all the like this rule makes every other magical creature not have magical natural weapons. Like conjured creature not have magical weapons because this specific subclass gives it as a feature.
Yeah. And there are examples of where like the summon thing already does have magical, but it'll either mention that or it's one of the newer Tasha summoning spells, which it's very obvious that they would have magical attacks because you're summoning something that is inherently magical as opposed to summoning a wolf. So you'll know, but confer with your DMs and DMs, talk to your players. Yeah. So that's really, really good. So it just makes our summon things have more health and do more damage at higher levels because of the magic resistance that's going to pop up all the fucking time. 10th level, we get Guardian Spirit. Now, when a beast or fae that you've summoned by a spell ends its turn in the spirit totem aura, which it doesn't matter what spirit totem, just a spirit totem.
A spirit totem, yep.
They gain hit points equal to half your level.
Wild.
Takes no action economy. They simply have to end their turn there. And you're getting this at level 10, which means it's 5 hit points at the end of every single one of their turns. You've just given every summoned beast or fae a regeneration ability that can't be stopped by like fire damage, like a troll. Insane. Insane. So flippin' good. I love it. Then let's just keep making our summon things even better, right?
Yeah.
14th level, you get Faithful Summons. If you're reduced to 0 hit points or are incapacitated against your will, so that's important. If you're incapacitated and you want to be incapacitated, this doesn't work. It has to be incapacitated against your will. I don't know when that would pop up. But this would be
like stunned or something. Like if you get stunned or something like that, this just happens.
Yeah, anything that incapacitates you. Wild. Or reduced to 0 hit points, you can immediately gain the benefits of Conjure Animals cast as a 9th level spell.
Wild.
It summons 4 beasts of your choice that are CR2 or lower. Insane. I'm about to look up. Some beasts that are challenge rating 2 just so that we can take a peek ski, as D&D Beyond has a bunch of issues for me so far. I got to do a million filters because they started adding 2024 monsters on here, so you have to be careful and make sure that if, depending on the rule set you're using and how you're doing the addition change and stuff, you want to be careful. They do a decent job of like putting parentheses 2014, 2024 and stuff like that, so you should be able to tell, but just as a heads up.
I've got a list here of some good ones. All right, so CR2, Giant Elk, Rhinoceros, Ice Spider Queen, a Cave Bear, Swarm of Poison. I don't know, you can't do swarms with it, can you?
That's an interesting question. I don't really know, to be honest. It's a little open-ended. Like we know that Cugrash in Unsleeping City summons rats a bunch.
Right.
So
possibly.
Depends. Okay. Depends on how you allow that.
But yeah, Giant Constrictor Snake, Allosaurus, Plesiosaurus, Polar Bear.
Yeah.
A Hunter Shark if you're in the water type of situation. All kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, it's insane. So you're getting 4 of those.
And you're 4 of them.
4 polar bears.
4 of them.
They appear within 20 feet of you. They protect you for an hour with no concentration.
Right.
That's it.
And also they're
fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy. And also they're getting
all the other
the extra 2 hit points per hit die, and let's see.
And magical weapons. They're getting the healing. They're getting everything.
8d10, so they're getting 16 extra health.
Yeah, and 7 hit points at the end of every turn if you
every
keep
turn.
The thing
well,
going.
does that doesn't drop when you
The spirit totem, it lasts 1 minute. It doesn't say anything about dropping
Fair
if you're
enough.
incapacitated or anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah, wild. Absolutely freaking wild. Such a good ability. Obviously, you can only do this once per long rest, but holy shit, that is fucking cool.
Yeah,
that is amazing. So cool having this like fail safe, this like life jacket on you that the second you go down, instead of puffing out, it just summons 4 fucking saber-toothed tigers to come to your rescue.
It's amazing.
It's so cool. But there you go. That's the Circle of the Shepherd. I'm a big fan.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. All right, so the next one we talked a little bit about it before we started recording. And this one's gone through some changes since it first appeared. Of course, we're talking Circle of Spores. This one is basically just like you're a mushroom druid.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff. You get a bunch of mushroom abilities, you get a mushroom form, all that kind of cool stuff. So this is also one of the ones where the first 2 that we talked about, you didn't get any circle spells for that from that subclass. And like the circle spells are the same as like the cleric domain spells, where they are just always prepared. It doesn't count against your stuff, and all that stuff. Starting at 2nd level, you do get the chill touch cantrip, which is legit. And then at level 3, you get blindness or deafness, whatever, and gentle repose. At level 5, you get animate dead, which is awesome, and also gaseous form, which has its uses. Level 7, you get blight, which is a really good spell, and confusion, also a really good spell. And then level 9, you get cloud kill and contagion, both of those very solid damage spells. And so you're actually getting some circle spells from this, which is nice.
And a cantrip, which is really cool.
And a cantrip, which is it's very cool. And it's rare. And Chill Touch is a really good cantrip, as we found out, for preventing healing. HP regain. Yeah, it's really good for that type of thing. So if you're coming across a troll or something like that, and for whatever reason you don't have the fire, you can still hit it with this Chill Touch, and it's not getting its stuff back.
Yeah, huge.
But yeah, huge. Also at level 2, you're getting the Halo of Spores feature. Basically, you have a cloud of spores around you, and when something moves into the space within 10 feet of you, or it starts its turn there, you can use your reaction to deal a 1d4 necrotic damage to that creature unless they succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. So it's an interesting use of a reaction. It does necrotic damage. This does level up with you as well. It goes to a d6. It kind of levels up almost like a bardic die. So rather than being a d4 at level 6, it's going to be a d6. At level 10, it's going to be a d8. At 14, it'll be a d10.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a nice little way to do some extra damage. And then you also get the symbiotic entity wild shape. Basically, you can turn yourself into a weird humanoid mushroom hybrid thing. It's hard to not think of this as some kind of monstrosity of just the most grotesque thing you can ever think of, because like spores taking over your body is a very gruesome process.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's an action, and you use your wild shape to awaken your spores around you. You're going to gain 4 temporary HP for every level that you have in the class. So, starting at level 2, you're going to get 8, but, up to level 20, you're going to be getting, what is that, 80?
80? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. While you're in this, that's a lot. While you're in this form, your Halo of Spores now does 2 dice worth of damage. So instead of 1d4, it'd be 2d4, so on and so forth. Your melee attacks deal an extra d6 of necrotic as the kind of spores pour into whatever cut or whatever you did. And then it lasts for 10 minutes or until you lose all the temp HP that you got from it, or you use your wild shape again. So the temp HP thing
I
don't
love
like
it.
I don't like being able to get knocked out of it like that.
Yeah.
Because at low levels, it kind of sucks.
It does suck at low levels big time because you're using your action to do this.
Right.
So you're taking a whole action to wild shape into this form, and then by the time it comes back around to your turn again to use some of these abilities other than the reaction thing, they could knock you out of it with one hit.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. I almost feel like if somebody played
level up though.
It absolutely does. It levels up well, but yeah, I agree. I think maybe I would even like work with them on this, and I would maybe figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe even like change this
Make
up
it
a
like
little
a
bit.
concentration check or something like that.
Yeah, maybe it's a check. Maybe it's a saving throw. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I wouldn't mind putting it up to a saving throw. Like after you lose the hit points, like whatever you lose the hit points, all the temp HP, you make a check. If you pass the check, you're good until you take damage again. If you get damaged again, then you have to make another save. I'd like that better than you'll just lose it.
Yeah, because this plays a lot into how they changed the Druid in the new PHB. But yeah, they changed how wild shape works completely in terms of action economy and in terms of like hit points. You don't switch over to the bears hit points. And then you lose the bears and then you turn back. It's like you get temp hit points essentially. So it's just like, I don't know. We have to learn more about it. I don't want to comment too much, but it reminds me of that. But yeah, I think I would work with a player on that until they get to like a certain level, and then it's like, dog, you have 60 hit points. Like, it's fine.
You're good. Don't worry about it. Yeah. I'd say until about level 5 or 6, basically, I would work with them because at that point you're working with 20, 30 HP. So
yeah,
fine. At 6th level, you get the fungal infestation feat. If this one's really gross when you stop and think about it, but also really, really cool. So if a beast or a humanoid that is small or medium dies within 10 feet of you, within your little spores bubble, you can use your reaction to reanimate it. It stands up immediately with 1 hit point. It uses the zombie stat block. It remains animated for 1 hour, after which time it collapses and dies. And the only action it can take is attack. It makes 1 melee attack. And you can do this a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier per long rest. So again, I've harped on about it. Druid wisdom should be your highest stat. Hopefully 5 times per long rest.
Yeah, which is like 5 times a day.
Yeah.
So you can do this in multiple. You could do this in the same fight.
Yeah.
So cool. The 10-foot is the only thing I dislike.
Right.
You have to be so close to them, man.
Right. But I mean, it's kind of cool. So like, if say your reanimated zombie gets attacked and goes down, would you be able to use your reaction to pick it right back up again if it's within that 10 feet?
Ooh, interesting. If a beast or humanoid. Oh,
or
here's
zombie
why
technically undead.
Zombies are undead.
Okay, fair enough. I mean that makes sense. But still, like the
then you're cheesing it.
Yeah.
Although you kind of could let them cheese it. A zombie's not doing that much.
No, it's only got 1 hit point. But I just the imagery associated with this, because you're a mushroom druid, basically. You're infecting this thing with spores, and the mushrooms are taking over a body.
Yeah, as mushrooms do in the real life.
Yes.
I mean, we all saw Last of
I've
Us,
seen
right?
Yeah.
That documentary that they did with Pedro Pascal. Crazy.
Yeah. That documentary that we all caught.
God. Glad that's over.
Yeah. So with this, we're going to be sitting down. Our kids are going to be asking us questions about where were you when the mushroom zombies took over the world. Right. Yeah. So anyway, moving on to 10th level.
I want to play that video game, but I'm scared.
It's spooky. It's spooky for sure.
I know.
Starting at 10th level, you get the spreading spores feat. As a bonus action, while you're in your symbiotic entity form, you can hurl your spores up to 30 feet away, where it makes a different 10-foot cube for a minute. The spores disappear if you use the feature again, if you dismiss them as a bonus action, or if you lose your symbiotic entity form. This is basically throwing your halo of spores around the field. So basically, while this is active, your halo of spores is not active. So that 10-foot aura around you is not around you. It's now up to 30 feet somewhere else on the battlefield. When a creature moves into the cube or starts its turn there, it needs to succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or it takes your Halo of Spores damage. It can only do this damage once per turn. And of course, while you're in the symbiotic entity form, that's going to be 2 dice worth of damage.
Yeah, but you don't have to use a reaction anymore.
But you don't have to use your reaction anymore. That's big.
Depending on the map, this could be fucking huge.
Yeah.
Just constant damage. If you trap somebody down in it too, like restrained or something like that, you're a druid, you can conjure shit and all kinds of things that can do restrain and grapple. We talked about that already. This could be huge. There's ways to make this dope as fuck.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a good one. I like being able to move the spores around the field, because it is, again, you can just next turn, if they've moved out of it, you can just bonus action move it again.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But then moving on to 14th level, you get the fungal body. You're now a full mushroom person. You're immune to being blinded, deafened, frightened, or poisoned. And unless you're incapacitated, any critical hit against you counts as a normal hit. So built-in adamantine armor. Freaking dope. Pretty cool. Not to mention, being immune to blinded, deafened, frightened, and poisoned is actually dope. Because those are 4... pretty common ways to fuck with players. I can tell you as a DM. And they are bad.
Whoa.
They're all bad.
They are all bad. Deafened is the one that like is a little circumstantial. Like if you have a bard in the group, being deafened sucks.
Yeah.
Good luck being, you know what I mean? But really, really cool.
Absolutely. But yeah, so that's Circle of Spores.
Circle of Spores. Very cool. Okay. We move on to the next one, Circle of Stars.
This one.
I love this one. I love this one so fucking much. Okay. 2nd level, you get a star map. So you create this star chart, and while you're holding it, you gain the following things. The guidance cantrip. Incredible. You learn a cantrip right off the bat. You also learn Guiding Bolt. So you have Guiding Bolt prepared, and it's a druid spell for you. It doesn't count against the number of druid spells that you can prepare either. And you can cast Guiding Bolt a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus without spell slots.
What?
Now, granted, they're going to, of course, probably be at level 1, but still incredible.
Yeah.
Because Guiding Bolt, not only, yes, you're going to hit with it, do a little bit of damage, but it also then gives advantage to the next attack roll against it. So, yeah, what a benefit. And these recharge on a long rest. So,
hell yeah.
That's your star map. As a DM, for me personally, I wouldn't be too strict about like, oh, are you holding your star chart or not? Like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then we get Starry Form. Starry Form is an alternate use of your wild shape. The nice thing, it's a bonus action. So you use a bonus action to take on a starry form. You shed 10 light in a what did I just say? 10 light? Jesus Christ, Justin.
10
shed
light?
10 feet radius of bright light.
There we go.
God dang. And another 10 feet of dim light, which lasts 10 minutes. It ends early if you dismiss it, are incapacitated, die, or use this feature again.
Okay.
When you do this, similar to the Shepherd, how there were 3 different types of auras, there are 3 different like constellation forms that you can become in this starry form. First is the Archer. You become the Archer, you're Orion. You can use bonus actions to make a ranged spell attack of 60-foot range, 1d8 plus wisdom, radiant damage.
Nice.
Incredible that you can just, now you have a bonus action attack every single turn.
Yeah.
Very, very fun. The next up, the Chalice. Whenever you use a spell slot to restore hit points, you or another creature within 30 feet of you can regain hit points equal to 1d8 plus whiz.
Nice.
So just a little bit of bonus cure wounds on top of, like ranged cure wounds on top of every healing spell is incredible. Dragon Form. This is
so good.
Archer is incredible. Dragon is another level.
Yeah.
When you make an intelligence or wisdom check or constitution saving throw to maintain concentration, you can treat a roll of 9 or lower as a 10.
Wow.
At second level, with the Dragon Starry form, you are getting a form of reliable talent.
Uh-huh.
A, like, what is that, 11th level rogue ability?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is insane.
And that's, so intelligence and wisdom checks, we're talking perception, we're talking investigation, we're talking arcana, we're talking religion.
Nature. Yeah.
Nature checks.
Medicine.
All of those.
And your concentration saving throws.
And that's also freaking huge.
It's so huge. Think about this. What is the lowest DC that a concentration check can be? It's a 10.
A 10. Right.
What's the lowest you can roll with this dragon thing? A 10.
A 10.
So you're auto succeeding on a lot of saving throws.
Yeah. Any of these little chip damage hits, anything that, like,
I'm gonna magic missile you guys.
The things that we as
so.
players use to break concentration, just the little chips of, hey, yeah, I did 4 damage, but make a concentration check.
Yeah.
All of those little chip things just go away. You don't have to worry about them anymore.
Yeah. Insane. So flipping cool. So that's a really great ability. Druids, clerics, you're going to have a lot of like concentration spells in general on those spell lists. So it even is that much more applicable.
Yeah, because you're still getting all of those conjuration spells and all of those cool things like that.
Call lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many things. It's incredible. It's so fucking cool. Anyway, and not to mention, like, when you cast Call Lightning and then Wild Shape, you're using that fucking, or, you know, you wouldn't be able to then, I was thinking of Wild Shaping into, like, a bear, and then you have to use the bear's constitution, and it might be lower than your constitution, but that you wouldn't be able to do that because this takes the place of your Wild Shape. You have to be in starry form,
Yeah.
So, disregard. Okay, 6th level. Now you get Cosmic Omen. When you finish a long rest, you consult your star map for omens. Roll a die and consult odds or evens. So any kind of die it won't matter. They're all even numbered. So they're always going to be 50-50 odds or evens. Mm-hmm. So you could roll a d6, you could roll a d20, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you get an even number, you get wheel. W-E-A-L. A word I've never heard of in my life until this subclass.
Same.
But you get wheel. Whenever a creature within 30 feet of you is about to make an attack roll, a save, or an ability check, you can use your reaction to roll a d6 and add it to the roll. Pretty good. Mm-hmm. Then, if you roll an odd number at the end of your long rest, then you get woe. So now it's pretty much the exact same thing, except now you subtract the d6 from the roll.
Yeah.
So I actually, and then you can do this because it's not like, oh, I can just do this every single turn, reaction. You get to do it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest.
Okay.
But I love this ability. I like that you're giving the druids another reaction, just like an extra like idea of something to use it for other than just opportunity attacks and stuff like that. But the reason I love this so much is just like, I kind of like how you don't get to choose if it's plus or minus. You wake up and you check your star chart and you go, fuck, dude, look at that North Star. Oh no. Anyway. And you just kind of like, now it's woe, and you get to subtract and make enemies worse.
Yeah, and so the wording of it, wheel and woe, I had to look it up. It's also in the augury spell for cleric. Wheel is there, but it's the augury spell. I thought that this was kind of like a druid's version of the augury spell, and it's not. This is actually kind of a druid's version, almost of a portent die, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's like a mix between portent die and bend luck from sorcerers and cutting words from, you know what I mean? It's like a combination of a bunch of things, but it's so cool. And it fits perfectly in the star thing. The idea of star charts and like fucking astrology and shit. Mm-hmm. Like, oh man, how fun would it be to play a star druid who's truly just like a crystal girly. Oh my god. You're
Oh
a Tauros? Ew. Tauros is also the name
Yeah.
of the Pokemon. Taurus, I think, is the name of the astrology sign. Anyway, moving on. 10th level.
1000%.
Yeah, I love that Pokemon, though. Okay. 10th level, we get Twinkling Constellations. In a nutshell, your starry form gets even better.
Yep.
The Archer does 2d8 now. The Chalice
Nice.
Healing, 2d8. The Dragon, hey, guess what, dog? You can fly, and you have a hover
Why
speed.
would you pick anything other than dragon?
It's so hard. I mean, I can think of like hyper specific examples where you wouldn't, you know, like if you go in, if there's like a certain combat and just the way that the combat is designed, you're not going to be using as many concentration spells.
Right.
Maybe that's it. But who knows? Who knows? Because you could also like, you could make the decision to like still pick Warcaster, and then you still want a decent constitution because you're going to be, you know, you want your health to be good. So there could be a possibility where it's like, oh, I don't necessarily need that dragon form to maintain concentration. And then I get a bonus action 2d8 attack every turn.
Right.
So there's like that would be the one way I think I would. But still, it's so fucking good because then you could choose not to take Warcaster and take a different feat. And it is a fly and hover speed of 20 feet. So super, super good. If you're listening and you're like, what the hell's a hover speed? Hover just means that if you get grappled or restrained while in the air and flying, that you don't fall.
Yeah.
That's all that means.
If your speed is reduced to 0, you still are in the air.
Correct. Exactly. So like a beholder as opposed to like an eagle.
Right.
An eagle, you wrap up those wings, that little guy's falling.
Yeah.
But anyway, and here's another mind-boggling thing that 10th level gives you. You also, at the start of each of your turns, you can change the starry form. Isn't that
So this is
wild?
no economy. This is no economy, just a free, okay, I don't need to fly anymore. I'm going to Archer form. Or, hey, my homies are hurt. Let me go to Chalice form.
Yeah. How
Crazy.
insane is that? How insane
And then at the
is
start of
that?
the next turn, you just go right back to Dragon and start flying around again.
Yeah. Switch up to Archer, get an extra attack in. Like, there's so many. It's so cool. And if you really think about, like, if you think about this from, like, a cinematic standpoint, how fast combat is, every 6 seconds changing forms and doing something different with it. I mean, think about that visually. How fucking cool, like, an animated scene of a Star Druid switching forms over and over again. Like, dragon form, fly in the air, concentrate on a spell, drop dragon form to go into Archer. In your free fall, boom, 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 Katniss Everdeen. And then before you hit the ground, poof, dragon form again. So cool. Oh my gosh. I fucking love it. And then at 14th level, while in starry form, resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. That includes magical and non-magical.
It just says resistance to that in general.
Bruh, this subclass is so good. This subclass is so good. Oh boy, they really knocked it out of the freaking park with this one.
It is a really good one.
I love it so much. It's really, really good. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Those are Star Druids.
All right, the Circle of Stars. All right, last one for today. We're looking at the Circle of Wildfire. This is kind of taking more of the elemental aspects of the Druid, namely, obviously, fire. You get circle spell.
Yeah,
you get
like
circle spells with this
how,
one as well.
Forests burn down.
Yeah, like that kind of idea of fire being a cleansing force that allows regrowth. Type of deal.
Yep, absolutely.
So you get circle spells with this class as well. Second level, you're getting Burning Hands and Cure Wounds. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Level 3, Flaming Spear and Scorching Ray. Again, hell yeah. Level 5, Plant Growth and Revivify. Hell yeah.
Honestly, it's
every single one of these is just hell yeah. Level 7, Aura of Life and Fire Shield. Hell yeah.
Aura of Life is potentially so good.
Oh yeah. All of these are fucking bangers, man. Level 9, Flame Strike, Mass Cure Wounds. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
all one of these, every single one of these is cool. Now, also with your second level, you're getting another use of wild shape, but you're not changing yourself, which is big. You are summoning a creature. Now, this creature, it's a wildfire spirit. We've talked a whole bunch about how these newer constructs and stuff work. It's going to share your initiative count, but it takes its turn after yours. It can do the dodge action unless you explicitly give it a command as a bonus action. All of that jazz.
So unless you're like incapacitated,
and then
it's just there's a lot of things like this. The Artificer has the Steel Defender that's very, very similar, and the Bard has that College of Creation thing.
Yeah. So all this, they all kind of work about the same. Yep. There is a stat block in the subclass, like right up for this wildfire spirit. Obviously, it's immune to fire damage. It's also immune to charm, frighten, grapple, prone, and restrain. It's an elemental little floaty thing. It's got a 30-foot fly speed. It can hover. Its bonuses are medium. Proficiency equals your proficiency. As far as what it can do for attacks and stuff, it can do a ranged weapon attack called Flame Seed. 60-foot range, and it does 1d6 plus your proficiency bonus fire damage. It also has the ability Fiery Teleportation. The spirit and each willing creature of your choice within 5 feet of it get teleported up to 15 feet to unoccupied spaces you can see. Then each creature within 5 feet of the space that the spirit left must succeed on a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC or take 1d6 fire damage.
Yeah.
Really good.
A weakened Thunderstep.
Right, exactly. That's what it's just
so
thinking.
Cool.
It's very good. It's very, very good.
It also, like, when you summon the spirit, it kind of does a similar thing of each creature within 10 feet of the spirit has to make a dex save or take 2d6.
Right.
So cool. And, like, the spirit can look like anything. I've seen people do all kinds of crazy shit with this fire spirit.
It's a really cool elemental spirit thing, and I like that it's a use of wild shape where you get to it's kind of like a lot of these ones up above, because we haven't talked about it, but I don't think that like the Circle of Stars form or the fungal form or one of those special forms, I don't think that it has the same restrictions of like changing into a beast where you can't cast spells or anything like that. Am I incorrect in thinking that? Are you're
totally right. Yeah, okay. you can still cast spells in your star form or your fungal form or something like that.
Right. So this gives you a little buddy with your wild shape, and you can still do all your casting and your conjuring and your little concentration spells and stuff like that. And you just have a little buddy.
Who lasts an hour. So you can do this before combat.
Although it almost makes sense to summon it in combat because it does damage when you summon it.
For sure. I'm thinking at higher levels. Because 2d6 fire, and it's, but yes, absolutely.
Anyway, but yeah, it's cool. So moving on to level 6, you will get an enhanced bond with your little wildfire friend. And it enhances your destructive and your restorative spells. So if you're casting a spell that does fire damage, or if you're casting a spell that restores hit points, you're going to roll a d8 and you're going to add it to either the damage or the healing roll, whichever you wind up doing. In addition, if you cast a spell with a range other than yourself, you can use your wildfire spirit as the origination point of that. So you can use your wildfire spirit to cast Burning Hands or something like that from away from you.
Pretty cool.
Very, very cool. So that's your enhanced bond at level 6. At level 10, you're getting Cauterizing Flames. If a small or larger creature dies within 30 feet of you or your spirit, a little spectral flame appears in that space for a minute. When a creature you can see enters the space, you can use your reaction to extinguish the flame and either heal or deal fire damage to it. That's really good. So either you can heal your friends, or you can do damage and use it like a mine. It does 2d10 plus your wisdom modifier damage. That's pretty strong for what this is.
Yeah.
And then you can do it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. I mean, 2d10 plus wisdom I mean, even at level 10, that's a pretty solid hit.
Yeah, just for a reaction and stuff like that. It's
For a
pretty
free
good for
reaction,
damage.
yeah.
For healing, it's
Also
huge.
for healing, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so that's your level 10 thing, getting much better. And then moving on to level 14, you get Blazing Revival. If your spirit is within 120 feet of you when you hit 0 hit points, you can instead choose that the spirit drop to 0 and you regain half of your hit points and immediately rise to your feet. So you're not prone anymore. And also you have half of your health back by sacrificing your little buddy. And
that's really good.
And then, it's a use of your wild shape. You could probably just resummon your little guy. Now, you can only use the feature once per short rest. So if you go down again, even if your little guy is out for the second time, that's it. Game over, man. You're going down. But
is it short rest or long rest?
It's long. It says long rest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think
you can use it once per long rest. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's such a cool ability.
Yeah. It's very so nice.
Cool.
I like it.
Hit points. Dang.
I don't know if you've ever played the Paladins. It's like one of those.
Oh yes.
Choose your hero, whatever.
It's like Overwatch, like a knockoff.
Yeah. There's one of the characters on there is named Io, and that's one of my favorite healer classes to play because she gets this little dog. That one of the things that you can do, like the thing that I generally choose to do with it is it has like a healing aura around it that kind of is just always around the dog. So if you're doing like payload or something like that, you can just throw the dog on top of the payload and your friends are all healing whenever you're around it. But the other thing that you can do is instead of doing that, you can make it so that whenever you die, you actually revert to wherever your dog is. So you can drop your dog back closer to your lines, and then when you're up there healing and stuff and then you die, you'll actually just teleport back to where your dog is, and your dog dies instead. You basically swap places. It's the exact same move. Minus the teleportation.
Right.
But still, this is really, I mean, it's really cool just to have this basically extra life floating around.
Yeah. It's granted, the trickiest part is going to be keeping your spirit alive and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But so cool. If you're in a fight where you truly are like, fuck, I might go down, and your spirit is still alive, push that guy 120 feet away and just let him chill there in case. You know what I mean? I would say that is way more important than like a little flame seed attack.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at level 14, your fire spirit is going to have 75 health.
Oh wow, that's actually a really good amount.
It gets 5 plus 5 times your druid level.
Oh shit.
As hit points. I might have glossed over that by accident, but yeah, so it gets a bunch of health. As you level up, this thing gets actually kind of beefy.
Yeah, that's sick, dude. Wow. I really like this one a lot. Let me ask you this. Let's say I'm a player. I'm coming to you, Taylor, and I say, hey, DM, I want to do the Circle of Wildfire, but like, I kind of don't want to do fire. Can I pick a different element and run with that? So I'm not changing elements like over and over and over again, but I just want to do acid instead of fire. Circle of Wild Acid. Go over. Can I do that?
Yeah. We could do that. It just would mean, I think if you're going to change the element, we're going to go through these circle spells together and figure out what thematically matches better than the ones that are here. Now, some of them would still work, like Cure Wounds, Revivify, Mass Cure Wounds.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about stuff like Flame Strike, Fire Shield, Flaming Sphere, Scorching Ray, stuff like that. I think, or doing like an Ice Druid, like the kind of a way that I would imagine it would be like the winter turning to spring type of metamorphosis, rather than the cleansing fire. It's the freezing cold, and then instead of burning hands, maybe get kind of cold. Flaming Sphere, we can work something out. I would honestly, maybe Chromatic Orb would work.
Yeah. There's a bunch of options, but I was just curious because that's how I would also do it. In case,
it wouldn't make sense,
people are like, I don't want to pick this because I'm just like I'm stuck to fire now. I can understand that, but
let's pick an element that works for you. You know,
What about
That's-
for my element, can I pick dairy? Can I be a milk druid and just fire instead of burning hands?
Absolutely
Dairy
not.
hands?
No, absolutely not. I'm calling it. That's all we can get into this
Milky
time. You
sphere?
can find us on TikTok and Instagram at SoYouWannaBeaDM, or you can ask us a question at
Scorching milk?
SoYouWannaBeaDM@gmail.com. If you like the episode, don't forget to give us 5 stars and a review wherever you found us. Check out our Patreon and our Twitch pages with the link in the description. And join us next time for more Dungeon Master tips and tricks.
Bye.
See ya.
And now I have the honor of giving a shout out to the members of our Patreon gang. Lee, we can't wait to roll dice with you. Nub Muffins, may Paylor's light shine upon you. And there's Vanessa D, Talk Screen, and Tappy. If you want a shout out, join the Adult or Ancient Dragon gangs on Patreon. Tune in next time for more tips and tricks from So You Wanna Be a DM.